Yes. Get down in there, shirk off the defender.
Holy smokes, did he get high? Oh, that's right. Lift that bag of potatoes if you got to inside.
Hit on a reach around.
But boy, did it look good in real time.
All right, back with the Eastern Conference, the NBA's less attractive sister. We'll start with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Drummond and Love seem to be the only non-perishable items in an otherwise dumpster fire of a team. Cody, start for me and tell me, why are we even talking about the Cleveland Cavaliers?
Basically because they're an NBA team and we have to.
Great insight. I love it already. We're off to a great start.
That's pretty much all they really got to offer. It's these three teams that we're gonna talk about shortly are the reasons why I support. You know, soccer has like that. What is it? Relegation rules.
What is that? Tell me what that is.
So relegation. If you're the worst team in a division in soccer, over in Europe at least, if you're the worst team and they have like three divisions, so envision it like baseball has it, where you have single A, double A, triple A, then the majors. So if you're in the highest, if you're in the MLB for argument's sake, and you're the worst team, you have to get relegated to AAA, and then the best team in AAA gets to go up to the majors.
Oh my God, that's ingenious. It's almost worth watching soccer for.
Oh yeah,
almost.
Almost. Yeah.
Like, could you imagine the Knicks, the NBA's largest TV market, having to play in the G League and having the fucking the Bakersfield Jam?
I like that. Hold it to the fire, bro. I mean,
wow.
Look, these guys are bad. These guys are bad, and we're looking at now the wasteland of what was once LeBron James's area, right? Honestly, who do they got? Who did they get? And who really gives a shit? It's the most important. They've got Kevin Love. He's still pulling down rebounds, isn't he?
Yeah, I don't know. Him and Drummond are gonna be fighting over those things.
Yeah.
I mean, they do have some talent on the roster outside of Drummond and Love, who I do think. I think I read a report that said Kevin Love might get traded to Washington as a third piece to their little trio that they're trying to build a trio out there. And Drummond's like I mentioned before about like empty calorie guys, Karl Anthony Towns, and Drummond pretty much is like the king of that in the NBA. You get 16 rebounds, and I don't think he's ever won over 30 games in the NBA. So.
But if you're on DraftKings, he's not a bad pickup, right? If you're betting some money.
Yeah, if you want 20 rebounds and
nothing else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of the talent they got outside of those two though is so they got Darius Garland, and they drafted Okoro from Auburn. Those are two guys that I would key in on this team. Okoro. If he can find an offensive game, this kid could turn into being like a modern day like Ron Artest. I feel like, but he should be able to step in day one and be like a pretty elite defender. He's pretty much the anti Andrew Wiggins. He has a high motor. He plays really hard. He gives a shit, and that's exactly what Cleveland needs.
He gives a shit. That's refreshing to hear.
Yeah. And Garland, I haven't seen much out of him. In the NBA, I know he was hurt to start the year last year, and it probably threw his rhythm off a little bit. But when he played at Vanderbilt, he was one of the best shooters in the country. Which in college you can do that, but he shot at a high volume too. So it's hard for me to believe that if he gets that same opportunity in the NBA, that he can't turn into some type of special talent. So they have some semblance of some hope over there, but I don't anticipate them even sniffing the playoffs.
So I'm going to give you a name, Cody, and I want you to. I just want you to tell me. First thing that comes to mind: Dante Exum.
Oh man! Oh, he was supposed to be the European
Kobe Bryant.
Sorry, the Australian Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
I feel bad for him. I know the dude's had some injuries and stuff like that, but that guy. I can't foresee him playing past this year. Like this pretty much has to do it for him.
Yeah.
He just never consistent, always hurt. Doesn't really do really a single thing all that well.
That's high praise.
Well, right, yeah. So ideally, he's a Kobe Bryant-esque kind of guy who doesn't do a goddamn thing. No, I had a lot of hope in him. He was it was built on athleticism, and you know what? The Utah Jazz are just so fortunate that there are these bad teams out there that are willing to trade a Clarkson for Dante Exum.
It's amazing. You look at that going like, wow, you guys had Clarkson like that the whole time, huh?
Unreal. So, yeah.
All right.
What's the chances? I mean, one more thing. What kind of crazy odds would you give this team to somehow finding a way to make the 8th seed in the Eastern Conference?
Yeah, it's like an Ice Cube's chance in hell. Like
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's
and you know the one thing that is kind of they have going for them though, to be honest, is that their arenas are the same capacity than it was before the virus.
All right.
Okay.
Cleveland, once touted as the new Toledo, now unfortunately the Cleveland of Cleveland, Ohio.
Yeah.
All right.
That was a good one. Okay.
You guys laugh like you haven't been to Cleveland.
Oh, so simple, but so effective.
Up next, the New York Knicks. Obi Toppin is topping our list of things to talk about here with these New York Knickerbockers. So, Jake, is Obi topping your list for Rookie of the Year this year?
He's top of my list for like a cool name. His name is awesome, you know. And
Certainly.
You know what? Look. He could be Rookie of the Year. I don't know. It's anybody's guess right now. Right now, my Rookie of the Year is a kid with the last name of Ball. I think that is my Rookie of the Year, and we'll see. But Mr. Toppin, I feel like. I don't know. He could be. I just love his fucking name. And you know what? He had a good preseason game, like 11 points or whatever. You know, New York media is just a buzz for those 11 or whatever they had. Every point is very welcome over there in the Big Apple. But this team sucks. We could clip this sound bite and put it and just copy it and paste it for the next decade for this franchise. Cody, do you have anything nice to say about these guys?
No, not really. You know, I'll go on a rant about them though.
Please.
And as a Utah fan, I have to see it all the time. These bigger market teams that have the easy ability to draw in these big star talents into their franchises. And you see something like the Knicks, the biggest market in the NBA, they should have the easiest path. You could put a fucking monkey in charge of that team and they could make the playoffs.
Absolutely.
And they still fuck it up. Like, how do you fuck that team up? They have it on easy mode.
They do.
You still mess it up.
Yeah.
There are some bright spots on the team, though. I do like Obi. Obi's one of my favorites for Rookie of the Year. And it's really just because opportunity. It's opportunity with not a whole lot of talent on the roster. So he's going to get high usage, high minutes, whereas some of these other guys, like even like LaMelo Ball, he's going to have to share the rock with Rozier, Devontae Graham, Gordon Hayward. So he may not get the same luxury of having opportunity as Obi Toppin's going to have. But I do think Obi, he looks like he's going to be a good pro. Kind of like, he reminds me a lot of like Kenyon Martin. So
yeah, good. That's actually, I didn't know who he reminded me of, but that is a very good. He does kind of share some of those traits.
Yeah. Well, and I know the Knicks have a new, not ownership, a new GM group. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Worldwide Wes.
Oh, no.
He's he's like one of the more influential behind the scenes guys in the NBA. So he's one of the guys. I don't think he's the technical GM, but he's right there alongside the GM. I do think it was a good pickup, and hopefully will lead to some type of structure with this team, and they can kind of figure out what the hell they want to do. But they better do something about their guard depth right now is absolutely awful. Even with the draft the way it was, like they had like 4 centers and power forwards on the team, and at the time of the draft, and they still drafted a power forward. And this is the new leadership group too. So I just get that feeling that the Knicks are just going to be Knicks. That's what they do.
Yeah, that's what they do, bro. And I don't think there's just no light in this tunnel until ownership changes to where they could truly have a fresh start. I'm just so thankful that I wake up every day and my first thought in the morning is, thank God I'm not a Knicks fan. And
or it could just be like, things could always be worse. I could be a Knicks fan.
Absolutely. Those poor
That's going to be hard living.
A weird thing too, I didn't realize this, but I guess they hired Tom Thibodeau, so that's their new head coach. So I can't help but think that like the stink on Thibodeau is going to wear off, and he will be out of the league soon.
He does carry a musk with him for sure.
He looks like he would stink, but
you look like you smell like pee.
Oh, dude, I like Tibbs. I like his. I liked him in Chicago. Okay, that's peak Tibbs, right? It's Chicago times, if you ask me. And he's the way he's a tough guy, and it's just too bad to see it all end this way for him in New York.
Next up, Chicago Bulls, another dumpster fire of a team. Now, Billy Donovan should be able to hopefully right this ship out in the Midwest. Or Cody, are they destined to be that one shopping cart with the broken wheel and that vast emptiness that is the Eastern Conference parking lot? What's your opinion on the Chicago Bulls this year? I hope it's better than mine.
It's not very good. I don't see a whole lot from this team. But unlike the other 2 teams that we mentioned before, like this team actually has a core of young guys that could amount to something. So they have a lot more hope than the Knicks and Cleveland for that matter. But I wouldn't bank on them even sniffing playoff contention. This team, too, for a long time has been a rudderless ship. But I know they changed over the GM, got a new coach in Billy Donovan. Billy Donovan, I think, is a great spot to help develop these guys. I'm just not very keen on Billy Donovan long term as far as when they start becoming a winning organization. I don't know if he's the coach to really take them to the next level. But as they stand now, you got Lauri Markkanen, Wendell Carter, Kobe White. They drafted Patrick Williams, who seems like number 4 pick overall. Mm-hmm. Seems kind of like the modern day stretch big. So their core is good. It's just going to take some time for them to gel, and they just need to figure out what scheme they're going to run. So give it about 3 or 4 years, and you might be able to see something out of this team.
Okay, fairly optimistic. Jake, what are your thoughts on that?
I love Patrick Williams. I tell you that. I think he has potential to be a special player in a group that he's not the standout guy that you're chomping at the bit for, but I mean he's got some tools. I like what I'm seeing. He fits like Cody was saying. He kind of fits that modern day NBA player. I mean, he looks like he plays in this era, and he plays well. He's got a smooth jumper. I like watching the kid. That being said, he's in a situation where nothing is going to be. There's not going to be a lot of happiness in the locker room, or there definitely shouldn't be, because there's definitely not going to be winning going on, and that's in the Eastern Conference. I love the Bulls. I think they're a good franchise. From the days, if I could mention the original Bull, Jerry Sloan. Ever since he put on the jersey, it means something to be a Bull. And I got to tell you that it's a little embarrassing to be a Bull in this day and time. So, yeah, I got nothing. I hope Patrick the best, and we'll see him when he's traded to a better franchise.
A notable thing too, like what I would like to see this team do is Zach LaVine's the highest paid player. He's the veteran star of the team. Yes. I think he should get traded
for sure.
Just for the development of this team is you need to get these guys court time and see what you got with these guys. And if LaVine's handling the ball, taking 25 shots a night, I say get him out of there. Give the opportunity to Kobe White to run the lead guard spot and see what you got.
Ooh, Cody. So let's play a little fantasy LaVine shopping network here. Your what team is the best fit for a player like LaVine?
Top of my list, I would probably say Dallas.
Ooh.
I think Dallas is in need of a third star.
Yes.
And not so much like a starter for the team, but I think if he can go, I think LaVine's best NBA outlook is being like a super sub type, coming off the bench, 6-man type. If he can go over there and kind of be a flamethrower for Dallas's bench unit, like I think that's a perfect spot.
I like
for
that.
him. And you're utilizing the most talent you can get out of the guy. So,
and you know what? I feel like with a kid that's been kind of stuck in the shackles of a shitty team for so long, that once he gets the fresh air of what the real life is like in the NBA, on a franchise that has their head out of their ass, then I think that he's going to have a resurgence of some kind, where I think he really has a good second half of his career as long as they get rid of him. You know, the poor kid.
Yeah.
God damn it! Let the kid have a life, for God's sakes.
I think he just needs to get that stink of losing
Absolutely.
off of him. Like once you start winning, it's an addiction to once you start winning. Yeah. He puts up all-star caliber numbers. I think he's a really talented player, but it's just one of those. If he's your fourth option on the team, he's probably best suited for that. If he's your number one guy, you're not going to go too far with him.
No, as we've seen.
Next up, Detroit Pistons. Jake, let me ask you: is Blake Griffin still jumping over Kias, or has his abilities dampened him to a Fiat status or possibly a 125 cc Vespa?
Dude, I you know what? No disrespect to Blake, but if you know, he might be to the age where maybe just jumping over the keys to that car is the best. Now the kid can still he can still jump, but this is no Lob City. This is I feel like he could. Blake's a weird one, right? Because I can't with all my brain power picture him on a successful basketball team later on in his career, because he doesn't do anything like super great as an older gentleman. But Blake. That's a tough one, because so Detroit in general, right, is kind of interesting to look at, because you got guys, you got Derrick Rose on this team, right? You still have Derrick Rose on the Pistons.
Very true.
Holy shit, Derrick Rose. But Derrick Rose is one of those guys that has just got so much heart that and so much. The guy is a special dude. He dropped 50. What, he dropped 50 on the Jazz recently, Cody, didn't he?
Yeah, I think last year or 2 years ago.
Yeah, and you know what? That's what the Jazz likes to do every once in a while. What we say, bring in somebody who doesn't usually score a shitload of points, and he could do it here.
Notably, do you guys remember the name Linus Kleza? Does anyone fucking remember that guy?
Linus.
I do not.
He was a career 5-point a game scorer. He dropped 50 on the Jazz, not once, but twice.
Oh, yeah, Linus.
That's a tough one. What about you, Cody? Anything at all more about the Detroit Pistons?
I thought they had a good free agency. They picked up Jeremiah Grant and Mason Plumlee from Denver. They're not like guys that jump off the map for you, but they're good role player guys that can help contribute to this team and add some wins. They drafted Killian Hayes, I think 7th overall. But a lot of guys that I read and pay attention to are saying that this kid is essentially the best player in the draft, the highest ceiling, so to speak. Pretty much kind of like the second coming of Tony Parker. So
Wow.
I kind of feel it was a really good pickup. It's what they needed. Really think that's going to hamper that is having Derrick Rose on that team. So if they both play the same spot and you're trying to develop Hayes, having Derrick Rose on the roster is not going to be fruitful in the long term. So at some juncture, I would like to see Derrick Rose get moved.
And you know what? There's a place for Derrick Rose. He's proven that there's a place for him. And this may not be the place, but there is. I mean, he can still play at a high level. He can still hit game winners as we saw last year. He can still put up numbers. He's a good locker room guy. He's kind of in for me the Carmelo area of players where there is still a market for intelligent veterans that can still put the ball in the hole. And I think he's right there with it. I don't know where that would be.
Well, I think the important thing with Rose too is he's not getting paid like he used to.
Yeah.
So he's going to be an easy that contract's really easy to move. I wouldn't be surprised if the Lakers traded a future first-round pick to get him. He fit in really well over there. But at some juncture, Detroit's got to not so much cut their losses, but realize that he's not part of the future of this team. So you might as well get an asset for him. But Detroit's also a weird team too, in my eyes, because they can easily be in that other group of teams that we discussed beforehand with the Knicks, Cleveland, and Chicago. If things don't go the right way, if Blake continues to get hurt, they may not have the firepower to really keep up and compete for that last playoff spot. They're an iffy team to me. Like I could see them if Killian Hayes comes out the gates really good. Blake Griffin has a healthy year. Grant and Plumlee contribute right away. They could sneak into the 8th seed.
The Atlanta Hawks, they went buck wild this year with free agency pickups like Rondo and Bogdanovich, a few more. Cody, are they making it to the playoffs this year?
They're my favorite right now. The 7-8 spot, it seems like an open competition, but these listed teams that we're talking about right now, Atlanta takes the top spot for me. Picking up guys like Bogdanovich and Gallinari, and even Rondo as far as like leadership off the bench, he should really help Trae Young out quite a bit. Because he's an exciting player, but he puts up numbers that doesn't really lead to anything.
Is he one of those empty calorie guys like you're telling us about?
Yeah, he kind of is. Or at least early in his career, he's kind of shown that. But I think the best way to answer that type of stuff is to start winning. And if you can make the playoffs, which they seem, it would be a disaster if Atlanta spent that type of money that like they did this year and not make the playoffs. But you got to figure they traded for Clint Capella last year. He never actually ended up playing because COVID happened and he was hurt during that time. So we'll get to see Capella actually play for him. John Collins, he was suspended 25 games last year. So he should get a full year out of him this year. And Collins was a 20-10 guy for this team. So you take that with the free agency additions. They seem prime and ready to take that next step. So, but I will say when we spoke earlier about coaches on the hot seat. So their coach Lloyd Pierce this is the last year of his deal and he didn't get an extension. If this team flubs early and underperforms, he will be the first guy to go.
And how lucky is it
Makes
that
sense.
this guy was able to last this long?
Yeah, well, to his credit though, it's like he was given a team that wasn't very good. They were rebuilding after trading Horford, Millsap.
Yeah.
So he was hired as the rebuilding coach. So I think it's kind of unfair to pin him as like a bad coach because he was put in a bad situation to begin with. But regardless of all that, he's been kind of put in a lame duck's position this year by not getting that extension. So Atlanta's ownership is clearly looking at it as like a prove-it year for this guy. But they also spent money too. So I feel like if he got fired and because they were underperforming, he would probably deserve it. So,
All right. Anything to add to that,
Trae Young,
Jake?
I love this kid. Trae Young is different than your Levines or your players like that are good players on bad teams. Yes, he is a good player on a bad team, but mark my words, this kid is special, and before it's all said and done, he's going to have some rings on his fingers. I'm talking marriage. No, just kidding. He's going to he's gonna win the title one day.
All right.
Trey's he's pretty damn good. I want to see what he does when the lights shine the brightest. If he has that next level to actually perform, like in the playoffs, are we going to see like a James Harden? Or are we going to see like a Luka Doncic?
Nice. There you go.
Another interesting piece with this team too is so they drafted Cam Reddish last year. So he was listed as 6'7" last year. He grew another 3 inches this offseason.
Damn it! Whoa.
Yeah. So it's kind of, if you're Atlanta, you got to be kind of excited because you basically got a guard that grew into a stretch 4, and not a lot of teams get gifted that very often. So he's the guy that I'm really curious, like if he can. Seeing how he develops, if he can be more consistent with his jumper, like he can be a very, very valuable tool.
Now breaking in here, maybe number 7 seed, Charlotte Hornets. Hayward got paid this offseason, no doubt about it, and a potential high upside for Jake's Rookie of the Year candidate, LaMelo Ball. Talk to me, Jake, about how
let
this
me
team's
talk to you a
gonna fare this
little
year.
bit about this. LaMelo Ball is intriguing. I love a player that just appreciates and shows you the beautiful art of passing the basketball, because it is where this game becomes poetry, my friend. And the kid can pass the rock, maybe better than anyone currently in the NBA. I'll say it. We'll see for sure, but the kid has a good feel for the game. He's a part of the Ball family, so something's not going to go right. No, I think
that's very true.
He's accustomed to pressure and scrutiny and lots of eyeballs on him, and he's going to be better than his older brother. I would say, I guess. Michael Jordan finally might have something that people can look to. Maybe it's a little bit better than horrible. At least it's going in the right direction. He paid a lot of money for Gordon Hayward.
That contract, I was utterly floored that he signed that deal. Like, not him sign. I haven't signed that all day, but the fact he was offered, like, they give him like 2 years, $60 million. I would totally buy into that. But 4-year commitment, $30 million annually. Like, his agent needs to be, like, you better buy that dude a house.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I mean, Charlotte's got some good talent on the team. P.J. Washington drafted last year, fits the mold of that stretch 4 that we were talking about a lot. The modern NBA requires that these 6'10" guys can shoot, and he seemingly looks like he can do that. He was my guy for most of the year. He more or less defines what the word to me should be like. A guy that was drafted, I believe, 2nd round. I'm looking it up right now, but regardless, he was in a high draft pick. And he came out of nowhere, so to speak. And the kid hit 213 threes last year, took 585 threes, 37%. Not that, a little bit above average.
I love it, dude.
But I mean, like, that guy, like, he came pretty close to winning Most Improved Player. And what I'm curious about is are they going to stick him in that C.J. McCollum off-guard spot to Dame? And they, if you recall right, too, they gave Rozier a lot of money last year as well. But getting LaMelo, though, it's pretty much putting them in a position of you got to pick what your future is going to be. And it looks like Terry Rozier is likely going to be the guy on the move to free up the spot so you can start LaMelo and Graham together. I worry a lot about LaMelo. This kid he was known as being a terrible defender in Australia, and that's not a good.
Yeah. Well,
so if you're getting killed by 35-year-old Australian guys, like what the fuck's going to happen in the NBA? You
don't need to play defense in the NBA, bro. There's lots of examples.
No, in today's game, I guess not. But maybe he's so good offensively that it totally offsets it. And it doesn't matter, and he certainly shows that potential. So, he's a weird guy to me. He has like one of the highest ceilings, but one of the lowest floors too. I could see him being an all-star. I can see him being out of the league in 4 years.
Wow.
So it's a wait-and-see approach. But I'm not saying they're making the 8th seed, but if I was a Charlotte fan, I'd be pretty optimistic about how this team's getting built.
You want a hot take? I'm going to give you a hot
Okay.
take right now. Hot take time. I think we have some theme music for it.
Time for a hot take. Time for a hot take. What you gonna say? It's a hot take.
Beautiful. So here's the hot take. They will make the playoffs. They certainly will make the playoffs.
Oh,
And that's all I'll say. It's not too hot.
That has been an exclusive hot take.
They'll make the playoffs, but they'll make the playoffs. And, okay, I'll add this to it. LaMelo, he's the rookie of the year. Charlotte goes to the playoffs. And, I'm feeling this one. Guess what? They're going to have home court in the first round. Ooh. They're going to be a 4 seed, bruh.
Time for a hot take. Time for a hot take. What you gonna say? It's a hot take.
Wow.
I mean,
okay. All right.
you never
all
know.
right.
There's always one team a year that the stars align for them and they make it. And Charlotte certainly. I mean, there's talent on the roster. I can see it happening. But for that to happen, like, albeit a small chance, the stars really got to align for that to happen.
You know what? I'm looking out the window right now, buddy, and you know what I'm seeing a lot of?
They're lining up.
Smog. But as soon as the smog clears.
Yeah. The Orlando Magic snuck in on the 8th seed last year, guys. Is this team now, Cody, destined for sports purgatory? What's their hang up? What do they need to do in order to break that seal, so to speak?
I think they need to commit to either rebuilding or adding an influx of talent. Like they're in that worst. They're pretty much in the worst possible spot. They're pretty much middling around in that aforementioned sports purgatory, and they need to. And they've drafted some really good players, at least like high upside guys like Mo Bamba. He hasn't really panned out. A lot of it's because of injuries. But Jonathan Isaac, when he did play, he was up there for most improved player before he went down with a torn ACL. So they kind of have some bad luck in there, but also they're good enough to make it, but not good enough to do anything with it. They basically just go in there just to be the sacrificial lamb to essentially the Bucks or Miami this year if they were to make it. But I think some of the other Eastern Conference teams have improved slightly better than they did, just enough to keep them out of the playoffs in my eyes. I love that. I do love some of the players on their team, like Vucevic. If he went to the right team, he's the way he's developed his game to add that 3-point shot. He's a good passer out of the post. He get you 20 and 10 every night. It's too bad that he has to play for that team and basically just middle around during the prime of his career.
It really is.
So
it really is.
But to me, with that team, it's basically you either package up some players and try to get another star to put them over the top, or you commit to a rebuild and you just sell off. And I'd probably go with the latter and just see what you can do and just try again.
Cody nailed it, man. One player that I think maybe we could spend some time on, Markelle Fultz.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about him for a minute, shall we?
Yeah,
He's an interesting player. Does anybody know if his jump shot has ever returned? I saw it on the side of the milk carton a couple of years back, but did he changed his entire jumper when he got to the NBA, right? It was somebody's wise idea to say, you know what you're doing? Let's stop doing that now that you're drafted. I thought that was he's kind of had a nightmare, at least in Philadelphia. What do we know about him, Cody?
He fixed his jumper enough to be. I mean, he's starting in the NBA, but I think a lot of that's more off the utilization of his other skills. The guy, he's a good playmaker. He's a good driver. He can get to the bucket. I just don't know if that shot's ever going to really be there for the kid, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you a story. So me and Ricky actually were watching a summer league game when he was just a rookie, pre-rookie, really.
Sure, yeah.
Just on the team. Remember this?
Yeah, well, yeah, but the University of Utah.
Yeah, we went to the where they play college ball up there, and we watched the young kids play, and it was the first game of Markelle Fultz. He was with the 76ers, and this kid had a lot of hype around him.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what happened. The kid performed well all game. There's 3 seconds left, and they're down by a point or so, I think.
Yeah.
He gets the ball. He takes a couple dribbles, and a beautiful jumper emerges, and he drains the game winner. We were both going like, yeah, this kid's awesome. This kid's awesome, and boy, Philadelphia is lucky to have him. And then he I think he just didn't have a leash on the jumper or something. It ran away. Anyways, he didn't find it.
He might have left it up there in those bleachers in Utah.
For sure. You remember that though, right? He had
absolutely.
That jumper that he won that game on was a silky smooth motherfucker.
I would go if you get some free time. Go up there and check and see if he left it up there.
All right.
Yeah. Check behind the bushes up there. And see where it's at. My conspiracy theory behind Markelle Fultz is I believe he's an avid skateboarder, and I'm willing to bet that kid crash landed and hurt his shoulder, and it created like a hitch in his shot.
What a hooligan.
Yeah, like that's my suspicion behind it, because I seen him play at Washington. I've seen his shot before, and it wasn't anything like. Have you seen Lonzo Ball's shot? Like, why? Like if NBA scouts and the assistant coaches are like, just let Lonzo shoot like that. Like, why would they try to switch up a Fultz? Like Fultz was never on that level, so I feel like something happened. There was some ligament damage in his shoulder that I think. In my personal belief, a total conspiracy. I have no merits behind it, but something must have happened, because it's just weird to me that a kid that had a pretty silky jumper in Washington all of a sudden just loses it.
Sounds like the second gunman on the grassy knoll there, but all right, that's stranger things.
I was asked.
It makes sense.
I was asked years ago if I wanted to see a ball jumper, and that went in a different direction. So. I'm sorry. Some of these
and you were never the same. Yeah. Years of therapy later.
Yeah.
Washington Wizards.
Good Lord, can we get a good goddamn team?
Well, we're getting there, I guess.
Right.
We're getting
patient.
There. All right. So up next, the Washington Wizards.
Woo! Yeah. All right.
Jake, has Westbrook found a new home there in DC?
Yeah.
How does his landing there in the East change that overall landscape, or does it?
It changes everything. It changes the entire makeup of the NBA, and I'm completely lying. It doesn't do much. You know what? Westbrook is a phenomenal athlete, a kind of a guy that you go, boy, I remember Russell Westbrook. He was a special kind of a player. But you know what? Like he doesn't contribute in a meaningful way to a winning team. And it's nothing against him. I mean, he's a phenomenal, once in a lifetime kind of. He's got that Michael Jordan like killer mentality Kobe had, and that we don't see a lot of these players like LeBron, for example. They don't have that. I don't mean to make it about that again.
It always comes back to LeBron.
No, but you know what? Washington is swapped problems, if you ask me, with Houston, and maybe that's a strong word, and maybe they make the playoffs, and maybe they go 6 games in the first round with whoever the hell they match up with, but then they'll be on vacation, and we'll analyze it the same we do every season with Russell Westbrook. He's a great player, but he'll never wear the jewelry on his fingers.
How about you, Cody? What do you think? Has Westbrook changed that overall outlook, or has he resided to disappoint in the East?
I don't think it'll disappoint. I think the Wizards won that side of the trade. You talk about John Wall.
Yeah,
They both have albatrosses of contracts. They both expire the same year. But Westbrook is clearly the better player than John Wall.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the shot, but just his drive and desire. And if people play at his level, his intensity game, that guy plays at 110% every game.
Yeah.
Like how many players' careers could get turned around or made of something if they played with that type of intensity? The unfortunate reality with him is he just can't shoot, but he thinks he can shoot, and that's
Yeah, not in his mind.
yeah. In his mind, he's got a green light, but everyone else is like, no, you don't really got that. But just by adding him to that team, John Wall's coming off a torn Achilles, and his notable like strength as a guard was his speed. So put the 2 and 2 together, you go, what's John Wall going to look like coming off an Achilles tear? Then you trade him out for Westbrook. Like Westbrook should be able to. He's going to contribute day one. They should be the favorite in my eyes to make the last playoff spot. I don't think they'll do much in the playoffs, but just that firepower, they should be able to be above 500. There's bright spots on the team, like that Roy Hamachura guy. I'm sure I'm butchering his last name, but he had a pretty solid rookie year.
That's the great thing about basketball, right? Is that you get some guy, you get a team like this that early on in the season, before the season starts, we go, I don't know, these guys, I don't know, baby. But then for some reason, basketball just has a way of bringing some guys together, and they become a unit, and they become a story, and it's fun to watch. And so I hope they become that team that you just go, shit, did you see the Wizards? The way that they played, like I that's some of the most exciting moments of basketball for me, is when a team just out of the blue puts on or takes off the glasses and becomes the pretty girl that you see in almost all the 90s romantic comedies.
She's all that. The Wizards are all that.
Yeah, I could see them. How you said Charlotte could sneak up to be a 4 seed. I could see Washington kind of being that team that kind of the unsurprised and they're the surprising darling, so to speak.
Yeah.
So I think their bench is actually pretty shored up too. They re-signed Davis Bertans. You want to take a guess how many threes he hit last year? Oh,
I don't even have a guess. What how many?
So he hit 200 threes. And his clip was?
Damn.
42% on threes. That is an insane level of threes right there. If that guy can contribute like that with playing with someone, so he's going to be a starter on the wing, specialist for corner threes. You have him with Westbrook, and he can take it to the rim and pass out. Like that's a dangerous weapon to have, with someone like Westbrook who can get to the rim at will, and have a guy that can hit 42% of his threes at a high volume. Like I do like that compliment. They have enough weapons on that team. If they schematically get that team playing the right way, they can be a threat.
So me and you, we used to be basketball players, and from time to time, we'll tie up the sneakers and go out and play a little bit. But let me ask you this: as a basketball player, okay, here we go. Don't you think one of the worst guys to probably play against in a pickup game or a regular game, whatever, is Russell Westbrook?
Oh, absolutely. Like, you play 5-on-5. There's moments when you're playing where you're taking a breather out in the corner 3 on the elbow, just trying to catch your breath, and you're kind of you're passing not so much passing the buck, but you're letting somebody else kind of take the reins over on this play, and you're just kind of there just as being spacer for the team.
Yeah.
And Westbrook's the type of dude that when you're trying to chill and relax and take a play off, he's up in your fucking face.
Yeah.
Like, guarding the hell out of you. Like, dude, come on, get off me. Like, get back.
Again, I'm going to hold to it, though. He's not – he won't win anything. I hate to say it. Won't win anything.
Ooh, okay.
Not unless he goes to the bench. I would agree with that. I have a question before we go on to the next team, though. So they drafted that I cannot pronounce his last name, but that European guy, or I believe he's from Israel. Denny Avdija?
Yeah.
I believe is how you pronounce it. Like, do you foresee this guy being the next Euro bust, or do you see him being a contributor to this team?
Okay, so I kind of he doesn't look like an NBA player, right? At least not. I mean, maybe in person because he's 6'9", but on camera when I saw him, I just went, whoa! All right, I like that the basketball reach goes everywhere, dude, and I'm rooting for the kid. I think he's got potential. I'll predict right now that he's third place in the Rookie of the Year voting. How about that? Another hot take.
Okay.
Time for a hot take. What you gonna say? a hot take.
That was another hot take.
Yeah.
All right.
Cody, what do you think? You asked me the question. Shoot it back at yourself there, dude. Does he have any potential in your eye?
I see him either best case like a Tony Kukoc or worst case the next Dragon Bender.
Dragon Bender. Whoa. Nice.
All right, kind of getting down into it now. The Indiana Pacers. Will TJ Warren, Cody, show up this year? And what about Sabonis and Turner? Can they kind of coexist in that Indiana Pacers universe, or is one of them on the move? Likely Turner, I would assume. Is that right?
I believe Turner would be the first one to go. Sabonis is the superior player. He creates a bigger impact all over the court than what Turner can provide. But Turner could probably net you a pretty good profit in the trade market. So, but this is something that Indiana has kind of like suffered with for a long time with the pairing of these two. At least the last 2 seasons, they've never really been able to gel together, which is weird to me because like Turner's kind of a stretch 5, and Sabonis can kind of play in the inside post. So you think they would be better off, like they would gel together pretty nicely, but for whatever reason, it really hasn't panned out. I don't see them, and if it hasn't worked the last 2 years, I don't see how it would work this year as well. But it's more or less, where does Turner go? I heard reports like Boston being a good spot. I think it'd be the best spot for Turner's career. So it's yet to be determined. As far as TJ Warren, so that guy, I think he finished second in the bubble in scoring just for those 8 games. And he was on fire until he faced Jimmy Butler. And Butler pretty much smoked him. But his career, he's pretty much been, I want to say, like a 15-point-a-game scorer. Yeah. But for pretty marginal teams. So I tend to believe he'll probably be that guy this year, but I think it's kind of contingent on what happens with Oladipo. If Oladipo's not healthy and he's kind of thrusting that number 1 option, then we could see him. I could see a 20-point-a-night score out of the guy.
Okay, all right, a little bit of upside there. Okay, how about you, Jake? Anything to add to those guys?
I've got a message for Indiana as a state. As a whole state, you guys.
Well, I'm sure they're listening.
Well, let me. You guys are a proud group of basketball traditionalists, shall I say? A tradition deep and full of fields of grass and broken rims and Larry Bird. Okay, Reggie Miller. It is embarrassing to see what such a proud area of basketball tradition has to root for. And I'm with you, Indiana. Your guys, they suck. They got baptized by the Butler crew, and it's just too bad. You'd like to see an area like that that knows their shit about basketball. You'd like them to be good. And they certainly are not. Oladipo, more like Lowe's. That was kind of
I see where you were going.
Yeah, it just didn't get there. Just like the Indiana Pacers are not going to get there. So it fits.
Nice. All right. Predicted as a 6th seed, Toronto Raptors. Mark Gasoline Gasol is out. Now he's a Laker, trying to bring his brother in there. They seem to be the saltpeter of the once top 5 in the East. What are your thoughts, Jake, on their performance this season now without the gasoline?
Well, I think actually the 6th seed, you say projected 6th seed. I like that because when you do the conversion rate, it's about 4th seed in America.
That's of course, yes. Yes, that was They don't know what the metric system is down here. So
I like this team. I liked them when they won the championship with their load management guy years ago. But now they don't have him, and they're just underwhelming. It's much like I don't know. It's just. This Eastern Conference, let me just step out of this Toronto for a second and say this Eastern Conference needs to get their shit together. What are they doing? we've had an exciting group of teams that you just go, what could they do? And they did this, and they're going to do this, and now we're looking at the Toronto Raptors, who are still riding high on the We the North won the title, and congratulations on that a couple years ago. But geez,
yeah,
how the mighty have fallen.
Yeah, if you want to talk about easy paths to a championship, like Toronto, how they beat Golden State and how Golden State went down with those injuries, like
yeah.
Holy shit! They got pretty lucky there, but
no question.
I do think they're well coached. I personally think Nick Nurse is a top 5 coach in the NBA.
I say top 3. I would even say top 3.
Yeah, I think that's totally legit. Those players play at a high intensity game in game out. Mm-hmm. So, but with the talent that they have, I can see them not really even making the playoffs
for real. And here we are in the middle of the playoff picture in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, but I mean, to your point, the East it's so top heavy, and it's just years and years of the West getting better and luring in free agents or getting hitting their draft picks the right way, that it's totally made it so lopsided that it's until you get to like the top 3 teams in the East, no, there's no team below that's really even close to really being competitive
for real
for the long haul. I mean, you can't be like if you're an Indiana Pacers fan, are you going to be like, yeah, we're legit contenders for a championship? You're not. Like Toronto, you're not. Like Toronto, like I hate to burst your bubble, like you're not threatening. Like you have a makeup of a team that's a second round exit. That's basically all they have to offer.
Yeah.
So they did lose Marc Gasol, and they also lost Ibaka too. So their center depth got.
Oh, I forgot about Ibaka. That's tough for them.
So their center depth was kind of depleted, but they did sign Aaron Baines, who, if you guys are paying attention to Phoenix last year, he added a 3-point shot. So I'm kind of curious to see what he adds to the equation.
Credit to the Coach Nurse, but they, you're not gonna be cheated out of your money to see these guys. They'll give you everything they have, and it's just unfortunate that it's not a lot, and it's probably because they have to convince players to live in the North Pole, for God's sake.
I know. I feel like that team's like watching a college team, like the way that like Nick Nurse puts out like one box zones out there. Like,
yeah.
Did you guys see that in the finals? Like the one in box. Like,
that was so awesome. I love that.
I know, but it worked. I mean, you can make fun of it, but like they in a sense shut down Curry, the pretty much the last option that the Warriors had.
It worked, bro. You're right. It worked, and I loved it. It was a great moment for him.
Yeah. That was badass. Yeah. If you notice, it was crazy to see. Because when Curry can bend a defense anyway, just with his outside shooting, but seeing that Raptors team all just that box would morph wherever Curry went just to fucking shut him out. Like,
yeah, dude. I was like I couldn't believe what I was seeing, and it was good because if you remember right, that was right around the time I don't know exactly, but right around the time when we decided to defend. The Jazz decided to defend Harden from behind him.
Yeah,
and so it was nice to see a savvy move from a coach.
Sound defensive strategy right there.
I know. I was in Hawaii watching that and just like, what in the fuck are we doing?
Wow. Oh my gosh!
Like I was struggling to find anything where I could watch this game at, and I turned the TV on and I'm like, wait a second, are we really doing this?
Yeah,
we're gonna guard him behind his back. Like, I'll go back to the ocean.
Yeah, good call there.
All right, Brooklyn Nets are up next.
Oh, here we go. All right,
here we go.
Let's see. I'm gonna wake up now. It's time to wake up.
Yep. Shake off the dust here. Here we go. Rounding into the top 5 now. Kevin Durant, he's healthy. Back for the Brooklyn Nets here with arguably his first season. Kyrie Irving.
Just call him World B Flat.
World B Flat, baby. World B Flat. Yeah.
I guess he put out some official press releases stating that he's not going to be talking to the press. Yeah, kind of I'd say unique for anyone other than Kyrie Irving.
Oh, goodness gracious.
But Nash, though, can he lasso in this overwhelming talent, or are we yet to see another mega team implosion as we've tend to see rather over the last couple of years? Jake, go ahead and jump on that one first.
Oh, goodness gracious! This is a circus over here. Okay, this is Brooklyn has a circus on their hand, which is going to be entertaining for me. We'll start at the nicer parts of the circus, like the Steve Nashes. That's cool, man. It doesn't guarantee that he's a great coach just because he was a great point guard, even though you like to think that's the case. Magic Johnson was a coach, remember? Not really. You don't remember, do you? Because it was short.
I remember.
So I remember.
Oh, yeah. Good.
It wasn't great, right? Not all great point guard minds make that transition. So, but I do root for him because I think he's got a good head on his shoulders for sure, and it was fun to watch as a player. If we peel this onion back a little further, I might start to cry because their two superstars right now are just look. They haven't played. They played one preseason game tonight that I kind of caught some of, and already with one game under their belt. They have annoyed me to almost no end. I'm very much frustrated with them already. They're just irritating because you got a couple of babies, right? Like, look, they both have won titles, right? We get that, they're champions, but not anytime recent. You got Kyrie Irving, who is a locker room cancer. He makes teams better by leaving them. It's true. He does. Teams improve immediately.
Well, I don't think you can't discount enough that both of these guys were also kind of coattail riders to championships as well.
There you go.
This isn't Kevin Durant led the pathetic Warriors to a championship, nor Kyrie Irving. Like both of them were notable. And Durant got Finals MVP 2 years with the Warriors. Like, he definitely performed when he was there, but you can't discount the fact that he left the team to join the team with 73 wins. So I know a lot of what he wants to do is prove that he can do that without that to cement his legacy. But with him tearing his Achilles, he's 32 years old. I have a hard time. Even if you get 75% of what Kevin Durant was, it's still a good, still probably a top 10 player in the league. But is it enough? Is it still enough to carry to a championship? They're the team to me that's like the really high ceiling. I can see them competing in the East for the championship. I don't think they'd win the championship, but they could represent the East. Just because of that. But it's not so much the Kyrie and the Durant level, because you got to remember this team made the fifth seed without those two, and then you influx those two into the team. Like, you basically have a really solid bench by having Dinwiddie, Karis LeVert, Tyler Johnson. You got DeAndre Jordan, Joe Harris, Jared Allen, all capable, really hard playing basketball players. Taurean Prince as well. That core of guys, and then you add 2 star level talents, like they should be able to compete. I just worry about the chemistry issue.
I forget that they got to that 5th seed. They actually look pretty good.
Yeah, look at this. Okay, so wait a minute. These guys want to go to a big market, right? So here's let me reenact the conversation that happened that no one saw or filmed. Look, hey, bro, let's team up in a big media market, but then we won't talk to the media at all, and we'll complain about the media, and we'll be picked on because look, these guys are babies. They're both babies, and they're in New York. Okay, they're in Brooklyn, and then we get a press release from Kyrie that says he won't be speaking to the media this season. So if you have anything to say, please put it in long form and send it post hence the fucking whatever the fuck. Look. I've seen a half of a preseason game with these guys. I'm sick as shit of these guys already.
Well, the pile up on that too is I think what bugs me the most with guys like Durant and Irving, who both have that media's the evil devil in their world.
Yeah.
I think what bothers me the most is they they treat basketball like it's a commodity, like it's grown and traded, and it's something that people need to survive, type of thing. And like you totally discount where your bread is buttered. This is this is the entertainment business. The media, as much as you may not like them, they're the reason you get paid $42 fucking million a year.
Absolutely.
Like
they don't understand, you know.
And it's kind of one of those, like, the media is the middleman to us, right? So we can get inside the locker room, so to speak, and see what these players are really like to draw engagement, right? That engagement leads to revenue. That's people tuning into games, showing up to games, buying merchandise, basically all forms of entertainment. And they treat it like they totally discount the fact that, like, the necessary, sometimes evil that the media presents.
And that's just the way the world goes round, or flat. That's the way the world goes flat.
Yeah. But, and then on top of everything too, like, Kyrie Irving is like the nuisance woke culture type of dude. Like, he kills me. Some of the shit that he puts out there, like, the world being flat, so to speak. Like, really, like, that's what you're gonna fucking hang your hat on?
Yeah.
Like, your voice is so powerful. You can make an impact in this world. You have the financial means. You have the soapbox, so to speak, with the media to make impactful change in the world. And you're gonna sit there and talk about the world being fucking flat. Like,
and then he's not going to talk
real.
at all. He's going to say the world's flat, and then I won't say anything. Okay, bud.
Well, I'll tell you, at $25,000 a pop, do you guys foresee this Kyrie Irving pedestal of silence, so to speak? Do you see that happening all year long? Because obviously the NBA is not playing. It's a clear breach of their contract.
Yeah.
And Quinn makes a good point to say, you know, this is part of it. Whether you like it or you hate it, it is what it is. And it is a means to an end. And that end is dollar signs, the zeros at the end of their paycheck. So do you see that then the team footing that bill, or do you see it's something that Kyrie's going to have to sit on each and every game to make a statement this year? And what's the long-term effects of that? What do you see happening with that?
Well, one easy one to put out there is by him not taking comments, somebody else has to take comments, and it's going to be about him. So when you talk about chemistry, like, it's going to be someone's going to have to talk to Karis LeVert and go, like, why, like, what's the deal with Kyrie? And, you know, he's going to have to, in essence, talk about speak for him. And that's an unfair burden to put on your teammates.
That's an insight I hadn't thought of. That's a good point.
Here you go.
Jake?
Here you go. I'm gonna go and work at Hot Dog on a Stick, but I'm not gonna wear all that goofy bullshit that they have. That doesn't work. If you work at Hot Dog on a Stick, you got to wear the goofy bullshit. If you work in the NBA, you have to talk to the media.
Goes with the territory. Okay, all right.
The Hot Dog on a Stick argument, I think, is the winner there. That shit is delicious, but they look goofy as fuck.
Yeah, Looney there. They do have some hot girls that work there for some reason. At least from what I remember.
You like seeing girls degraded, and that's some mental problem with you.
Next up, arguably the fourth seed, the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, let me just preface all this by saying, as a diehard Philly fan, it is going to be hard to be unbiased, but I'm a consummate professional, as these gentlemen would attest. So I have suppressed any urge to show any favoritism in my questioning to you both. So, Jake, I'll start with you. Are the 2021 76ers the greatest team in the history of the NBA? And if not, then how can our fan base here in YouTube land ever trust your basketball insight again?
You know what? I'm going to take a turn that you may not think that I'm going to take. Here's what I see happening with this squad. I feel like they are going to be the Eastern Conference champions, and if they match up with the Los Angeles Lakers, they will be the next world champions. I'll tell you that right now.
I like this kid. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Honestly, and you know what? That's kind of controversial, but I feel like that all that this team has ever needed is a good coach, a good voice, a good leader. So they got it with Doc. They got it with Morey. As long as, and there's a but, if they somehow fall into this trap of getting James Harden, as good of a player he is, they will not win the title. If they go up against LA, I like the matchup. Embiid, Simmons. I think Simmons is going to win Rookie of the Year this next year because every year he's eligible.
Yeah, knew that was coming.
Yeah.
All right.
So no, I'm high on this team. This version of this team. Cody, tell me why I'm wrong, bro.
I don't think I'd go as far to say that they're going to be facing the Lakers, but I do like the fact they reverted back to what really drove their success like 2 years ago. So they added shooting. So they made trades to get Seth Curry. They made trades to get Danny Green. So anything. So the key to this team's success is going to be the spacing. So if you get guards that can shoot, that can create lanes for Ben Simmons to get to the bucket. And then obviously Embiid with the talents that he has, they should be. If all things hit well for the team, I could certainly see them in the finals. And you can't forget too, they also got Tony Bradley. So that
You son of a bitch.
that alone gives them that. But no, I mean, in all seriousness, I do like what Morey did as far as reverting back to what drove their initial success, and it was It was an inside-outside game, and I feel like they went back to that when they lost JJ Redick last offseason. They seen how crucial that guy was to the team's success, and this guy is like a fourth option for the team. But just by being able to be a threat on the outside and give Ben Simmons room, give Ben Simmons a room to create, and that was really the motor that drove their success. So I'm excited to see what this team can do, especially with that shooting. My real notable thing is I really hope Embiid decides what the hell he's going to do. Like if he's going to quit trying to think that you can shoot threes, I'd rather you just be a beast.
He can, bro. He can hit the three. He can hit the three. He probably shouldn't be. He probably shouldn't consistently, but he can hit that three, and that's important, I think, right?
I don't think he can. Not as well as you may think he does.
That's definitely not his forte. I mean, he goes out there, you cringe all the time when he makes it. It's amazing, but you're super excited. But it's almost like seeing Gobert out there.
Wait a minute. Okay,
what are you doing?
He shoots 32% career from three. Okay, as a big man. I'll say last year he shot 33%. I mean, if you get the guy an open look, the problem is, okay, so I get the main malfunction here is that if you got Embiid out in the fucking parking lot, then he's not helping you where he needs to be helping you. Now that's the main point. I get that. But sometimes with the Simmons problem, right? And this team is just a head scratcher for sure. But like with Simmons, you almost need every once in a while to go send Embiid out on a coffee run out in the 3-point land so that Simmons can have some space to work, because to your point, Cody, space is the main factor.
Yeah, space is key, and space is gold in today's modern NBA. So I agree with you. To have that threat is definitely important. It's just one of those things. I'm not fully convinced that is a necessary weapon in his arsenal. I'd rather see him hit elbow jumpers and draw space that way than step back and try to shoot threes.
Mid range, you must be 100 years old if you're talking about mid range.
Mid-range?
We're talking about
mid-range. I know it's blasphemy in today's game, but it's something I think he'd be better utilized with it. And I could be on an island with that, but I think it's better suited. And by even just going out to the elbow, you're going to create lanes for Ben Simmons, and not to mention you're going to have lob putbacks because Ben Simmons is a great playmaker. So if he can drive and kick it out to you on the elbow,
that's when he's best. Rounding out the top three, then Boston Celtics. Hayward, obviously, Jake, he cheated on Utah with Boston. That much is clear. Now he finds himself dumped by the team, who may have wanted him nothing more than a type booty call now. So let me ask you, are they better now for not returning his text, or will they miss his
look, I hardly ever think about Hayward anymore.
That's a lie. That's a lie.
Hayward brought us the girl that we wanted all along, and she is. It might get weird if we keep doing this, but yeah,
I can hear the pain.
No, that's okay. That pain is very similar to the pain of agony of looking at an ankle that has shattered. And that's bad. I shouldn't say that. It's not that you turn against the Jazz and your ankle blows up, but maybe you should consider that that's what happens. Look, Boston Celtics are a team that I love to hate, but they're so necessary. They're so necessary in the league, dude. I like Tatum. I love Tatum. Let's see. I love Tatum. He's a superstar. But and then Smart. Look, Smart turned into a player that actually is very has a lot of value and just does the things that you can't write down in the stat sheet. They're going to be a problem for anybody. Because I think they have another coach that's in the top 3 of coaches in the league right now. I don't know if you agree with that, Cody, or not, but I feel like he's a top 3 along with Nurse, and I'll probably say Popovich too is my top 3.
I think Popovich gets the legacy points
absolutely.
For being the best.
You put Popovich in a cohesive group of guys that aren't LaMarcus Aldridge, and anyway, we'll leave that alone. But the Boston Celtics are a threat to be representing the East any year.
I don't think Boston's going to miss Gordon Hayward. I think they're more pissed off on the merits that they didn't get anything really in return. They did do a sign and trade where they created the NBA's largest trade exception ever. So it's $29 million trade exception. So that's going to be a key for that team because they really didn't. They added Jeff Teague and they added Tristan Thompson, which are savvy veteran pickups. But I'm really curious how they go about with that $29 million trade exception because that opens up a very small trade of player that they would have to give up to get a big player in return. Think like Miles Turner, Kevin Love, Andre Drummond, those type of guys by giving up minimal salary.
Here's something I'm going to throw at you. It hasn't been talked about, so I'm going to bring it up here. Do you even entertain the possibility of allowing a thought to come into your mind about James Harden joining the team?
Talent's talent. I think you got to take talent when it's available, especially if you don't have to give up much in return. Because even if you get Harden, I don't think Boston's competing for a championship this year. They'll be a threat in the East. I can see them being a conference final team, but they're not good enough to be a championship caliber team. If you get Harden, and that could totally turn the corner for you, and if he plays within the system and it gives you that firepower to compete with the West and if you make the finals, then it was worth it. If it doesn't, you in turn you have an asset that you once didn't have before. So if I'm Boston and that's on the table, I absolutely would. I couldn't foresee Houston's not going to trade Harden for Daniel Tyson.
Daniel Tyson has got a lot of a career ahead of him, my friend.
Yeah. But, you speak about Tatum, and Tatum is pretty much – so we spoke about Donovan. We spoke about Jamal Murray making that ascension to superstar status during the last year's playoffs. But a lot of people discount, Jason Tatum's performance. He was pretty much that third guy that really broke out that was okay, we got – a real special, and we knew he was special as far as talent-wise for Boston beforehand, but he really showed up and showed his consistency. One player, the player on the team that probably my favorite player on Boston is Jaylen Brown. I feel like his offensive output is pretty much damn near the level of Jason Tatum, but he's by far the superior defender. That guy can play multiple positions. He can guard multiple positions. And he can create his own shot. He can pass really well. He's a guy that I'm real curious if he can turn the corner, especially with Gordon Hayward out, to where that gives him more options as being probably the true number 2 option
Okay.
on the team.
So here you go. Right now, I'm gonna put in a group Tatum, Donovan Mitchell, and Jamal Murray, and I want you to rank those.
So top 3, I would say
Yeah.
the best of those 3. I'm going to take Mitchell, then I'm going to take Tatum, and then I'm going to take Jamal Murray.
Yep.
That's
That's mine.
Yeah, so Mitchell he's proven that he can carry the team, a team on his own back, being the sole offensive output. Tatum has had to be the second, third option for Boston for a few years. It really wasn't until last season's playoffs that he ended up having to be thrust into like, you're our main guy, you're our main bucket getter, and he thrived in it. But there's just not enough of a trial really to see what he can do. So I'm curious, through like 72 games, can you carry that burden of being the number 1 guy? And then you take someone like Jamal Murray, I mentioned before, the kid can drop 50 and he'll give you 13 the next night. And it's I need to see more consistency out of Murray.
All right. Next up, Miami. Amazing city, amazing food. Jimmy Butler on the roster. It may sound like Philly, but with warmer weather. So now he's gone, guys, arguably from good to great in a single season. I think that's probably pretty evident.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe you guys would agree with that. Is that now the new norm? Has he now set that watermark, that benchmark for himself? Or will that, you guys know, that inner head case that is Jimmy Butler, will it finally find him?
Take it.
Down
You
South
go first
Beach?
on this, Cody.
Well, I would just like to, I guess, in a sense, fight back against the head case comment with Butler. Like I would say that he's not so much of a head case, but he's more of that old school type of dude that he demands excellence from his players, and it rubs people the wrong way. But sometimes you need that guy that's going to challenge people for you to be a good team. You need to have somebody on that roster that's going to not put up with bullshit. And I think, like when Jimmy was in Minnesota, and you look at their 2-star players beforehand with Karl Anthony Towns and Wiggins, these are 2 guys that really haven't been held accountable. And Butler's out there trying to hold them accountable, and they both get their feathers get all ruffled over it, and it's but they probably deserved it, you know. But as far as him like ascending to like say top 5 status, I don't think that's what his impact is really about. I think his impact is culture, holding teammates accountable. He's probably a top 15 player, but just his attitude and his drive and really his leadership is really the impact that will be.
Okay, you're going to get some
Heat
pushback, pal, in the form of the Jimmy Butler argument here. First of all, shout out to Jimmy Butler Coffee. That was a cool little storyline, right? Where he's charging he's in the bubble with the playoffs. He's charging motherfuckers $20 a cup of Jimmy Butler coffee. I'm sure it was delicious. Entrepreneur. Here's my deal. Yes, I feel like he does have he's a head case. He's got some crazy motherfucker inside, and I love it. It works. Sometimes it doesn't. It's working now though, and I would say that he is a top 5 player right now. And you're going, what? Look, he took that team to the finals, and gave his heart and soul to the team and to the floor, dude. It was an impressive performance from beginning of the playoffs to the end. And I'm going to remind you both that at the beginning of the playoffs of the bubble, they were asking about, visitors that are going to be coming in through the bubble, and they got to go through quarantine, and you can bring your family in, and you could, because we're going to be, in the bubble for a long time. You know what Jimmy Butler said? I'll remind you. He said, I'm not bringing anybody in. And they're like, well, why are you bringing anybody into the bubble, dude? And he says, this is a business trip. And the second he said that, I said, whoa, this guy has got, like you said, Cody, he's got a old school mentality that you just fucking love.
It's certainly valid. I don't think anyone's dumb by saying that he is, because I think it's a body of work as well. Like sometimes the raw data, the numbers don't necessarily reflect the impact, right? And Jimmy Butler, to your point, I can certainly see that as like, because him as a player, he is limited in certain roles. Like he is not really an exceptional shooter. He can get it done, but pretty much at league average level. But it's the intangibles that he brings to the table, and I think he finally found a team that fits his mentality, and he commands respect, and that team is giving him that respect and giving the effort that he demands, and it's paying dividends. I love seeing what that team has built. Pat Riley, like notable guy that is all about accountability, and I think he found the perfect superstar to build the next great Miami Heat team.
For real.
I got one. How many threes do you think Duncan Robinson did last year?
That he made? I'm gonna get, and I'm not looking. I'm gonna say I'm gonna say in the 280.
Actually, really damn
Holy
close.
shit!
270.
Really? Whoa! Hey,
Wow.
Yeah. But here's the amazing thing though. What was his clip?
His percentage? You know what? I'd say 36%.
Ooh, no,
good.
45%.
You fucking A. There you go.
Wow.
There's your difference maker, right?
That's dangerous.
Absolutely. That right there, like he's a specialist, no doubt. He doesn't really contribute any other way. But that's today's game. Having dude hit shots like that.
Wouldn't he do wonders in Philadelphia where they need that space and they need that shooting? They need a guy like that is specially driven that could just right?
Just yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny to me because like you don't need a superstar in Philly. Like all you need is special. You need a specialist to complement your two stars.
Last for the Eastern Division, Milwaukee Bucks. Huge contract extension coming up here on the 22nd, I believe, for the Freak. Cody, is he staying in Milwaukee, or has the Freak resigned to move on from Wisconsin onto greener pastures?
Until that dotted line is signed, I would be very worried as a Bucks fan. They blew this free agency. They did add Drew Holiday, and I thought it was a really good pickup. But that Bogdanovich mess up was that one's going to hurt a little bit, especially if they continue to see the same playoff failure that they keep getting every year. So and Bogdanovich, like he's not like an all-star caliber guy, but he's a guy that his offensive output and spacing that he provides is crucial for this team. And the way they flubbed that whole thing, it could cost them Giannis.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Jake, what do you think?
I have a suspicion that he stays. Right. My instinct tells me this guy's a little bit different than most of your current NBA players, American NBA players, more specifically. He comes from a place where Milwaukee is quite the city. So that tells you right there. But I feel like he is dragging this out. And if I'm in the Milwaukee front office, I've got sweat coming from my brow because I've been drinking so heavily in anticipation, right? I'm nervous as shit if I'm Milwaukee, but I think that it's he signs and it's going to be a story in which if they keep doing what they're doing, they're not getting better. To your point, dude, they're just you need to. I'm reminded of the greatest team ever assembled, other than the Dream Team, of course, that of the Chicago Bulls, and they got better, year after year. They added when they added the Rodman piece, to the Kukoc situation, the Steve Kerr, what you do if you're wanting to get to the next level is you've got to keep adding pieces. The Jazz did it too. Actually, they couldn't get over the hump, but it's an example of you can't just relax, right? You can't relax and think that the players that didn't get you there are going to somehow find a way to get you there the next season. They're not as proactive as I'd hope them to be. So the Freak stays, in my opinion. They're an Eastern Conference contender. They may go 7 games. with Philadelphia in my bracket. I've got that as being close, but you know.
Well, I think they have a three-headed monster by getting Drew Holiday. So now you have him, Middleton, and Giannis, and
Okay.
I feel like that's enough firepower to keep up with Philadelphia and what they have to offer.
Okay, that makes sense.
But I can't stress enough that if Giannis does not sign that extension, they've traded the farm out just to get Drew Holiday. That between I think they gave up like 4 or 5 first-round picks between 3 unprotected and then 2 trade swaps. So if he leaves and they have no ability to rebound through the draft, I mean, Milwaukee's a relatively small market. Like you lose those draft picks. I mean, we can all agree that if Giannis leaves, this team's not making the playoffs.
I tell you what, I'll do you one better. Yeah. If Giannis doesn't sign on the dotted line, we next season for the NBA preview, we talk about the Bucks first.
Yeah, I agree, and it's that will put that franchise back 10 years, like because they have no ability to build through like being bad. So the Pelicans did a masterful job of acquiring those draft picks and you really using that leverage that Milwaukee's management team is pinned up against the wall, so to speak, to do whatever they can to make sure Giannis stays long term. And kind of the shitty thing with the modern NBA is he can sign that extension and still ask. Anthony Davis proved that he signed an extension. Everyone was like, "Oh, he's in there for another 5 years with the Pelicans." Well, no, he'll still force his way.
But that's all, folks.
Yeah, Harden's doing the same thing. It's no different. It's that extension really doesn't mean shit if they don't improve the roster enough for them to be competing. So, and they're competing, but like not every year, but the last 2 years since they've been a serious threat, teams have figured out ways to stop Giannis.
Absolutely.
And it's basically his teammates not stepping up and his inability to hit outside shots.
You summed it up perfectly right there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
That opens the doors for teams like Miami, Philly to come in there and jump in that number 1 seed.
Now, by adding Holiday, does that give an additional spacing to because Giannis is a gifted passer, so if he can take it in, if he can stop teams from clogging the lane, because Holiday and Middleton are hitting shots, you really see that might be the final breakthrough that they need to really get past the hump and get to the finals.
We'll see. I'm not totally sold on that narrative, but we shall see. I mean, I definitely hope like Giannis is a great player, and like the other day. See, this is another a point about screaming to the world that you're the greatest. Muhammad Ali was the only one that really could do that with legitimacy. Giannis is like they're asking him if he's the greatest player in the world, and part of you would like to hope that he inside his brain thinks yes I am, and I do think that inside his brain he does, but he says no. LeBron's the best player in the world. He's a very humble guy. He's torn from a different cloth, and that cloth hopefully is snagged somewhere on a fence in Milwaukee.
His Greek toga.
Greek toga. Yeah, there you
go. Well, I think his upbringing, he was a refugee in Greece, like those types of things. Like I appreciate the fact of like his humbleness with that matter. Like LeBron James, like even at age 36, he just won the championship. He won Finals MVP. Giannis just won the MVP, but I think Giannis has that clarity to see where he's at in the placement of the world. It does him saying that does not derive him to his goals and what he's working towards. It's just it's open acknowledgement to say where you're at, and it's I don't think there's I take no not so much offense, but I appreciate the fact that he'd be humble enough and self-reflective enough to say such a thing.
And doesn't it even kind of hint at a realization that he's got work to do, that he hasn't arrived yet, that he's still in the grind of things. You don't hear that a lot from these assholes. I sound like an old guy.
I know.
You sound like one too.
I know, old man yelling at the sky.
Yeah. Shaking your fist at him.
Yeah, you sons of bitches. No, if you're great, if you're gonna be a great player, one of the top players of all time, like you can't ever acknowledge that your work is done until it's done. Like Giannis is one of those guys that he has to continue to put that work in, and quite frankly, like he has an Achilles heel. We openly acknowledge what it is, and it's outside shooting. If that guy can shoot an outside shot even at a decent clip, a Joel Embiid clip, that's all you really need to do.
Yeah, for real.
But he's proven, at least for the last 2 years, that hasn't been the case. And if he does develop an outside shot, like the league's on notice. He's winning championships for the next couple of years. So the likelihood of that happening, like, my personal belief is like the cat's out of the bag. You can't shoot outside shots. Quit trying to force the issue. Just do what you're good at and surround yourself with players who can, and use his other skills to complement it. So if he can get the bucket at will, surround him with shooters, because he's a gifted passer as well. Yeah, so yeah. I'd rather see that route than force him to do something that he won't ever be good at.
Yeah, let him play to his strengths, without a doubt. Well, all right. That sums up the Eastern Conference. Like and subscribe on the YouTube channel there, and stay with us here while we have a rundown of our 2021 predictions. We'll bring back Jake. We'll bring back our senior correspondent. We'll run them down from Rookie of the Year to series-ending MVP. Stay with us.
I'm going to, by the way, before we go, I'm just letting you know I'm going to get all of them correct.
Let's start with MVP. Cody, what are your predictions for 2021? Who will be the NBA's MVP?
So my prediction, I'm going to stick with Luka Doncic. I think that another year, him having to carry an extra burden with that team, especially if Porzingis misses a few games with that knee injury to start the season, he's going to put up some really strong numbers, and the team's going to be a winner. So I see him as my odds-on favorite to win it.
I like it. How about you, Jake?
You know what? I've been going back and forth in my old noggin about this. I'm gonna go with Steph Curry. I think that he's got a shot to really have a lot of focus on all the hard things he's gonna have to do this year. The stage is set perfectly for him to I like it, to be the MVP. Yeah.
Okay. How about Rookie of the Year, Jake? Who is it gonna be?
Okay. My prediction for Rookie of the Year is what I have in my left hand, and that's a ball. All right. LaMelo Ball. He's the dude for sure. Okay. He's my rookie.
Okay. Why do you see that there? Because his father will be too busy with.
No, I tell you what. His father could beat Michael Jordan if you ask him. But LaMelo is exciting. Hopefully, he continues that this next year. He's making Charlotte a team to actually want to watch, and that's a big deal. I say Ball is gonna ball this year.
How about you, Cody?
So stupid.
How about you, Cody? Talk to me about Rookie of the Year.
Well, I think we can all agree that LaMelo's not winning Defensive Player of the Year anytime soon.
Yeah, for real, for sure.
So, I guess my odds-on favorite, I think I'm going to go with Killian Hayes. I think he has the opportunity with Detroit to lead the offense. I see Derrick Rose getting traded mid-season to short playing time to really develop this kid. But he's going to get every chance to show what he's about. So I'm going to go with this guy.
Defensive Player of the Year, Cody. I'll get right back to you there. Who do you think's taking home that coveted trophy?
Ooh, that's a tough one. So I always wonder if they're it's very rare to have a perimeter player actually get that award. So
I know where you're going.
So this is going to be a tough one to say, but I wonder if the Clippers finally get that voice and that narrative, chemistry, all that issues taken care of, and we see Paul George actually win Defensive Player of the Year.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Jesus Christ. Whoa. He has completely lost it, folks. You know, it goes to show you, if you're on a podcast long enough, you'll start spitting some crazy shit out.
Well, wow. Jake, I'll turn it over to you. It sounds as though you don't see Paul George as taking home that trophy next year. Who is your Defensive Player of the Year?
It's LaMelo Ball, and okay. I'm going perimeter. I think I think voter fatigue. That you brought that up a second ago. That's a real thing. I don't think it's going to be our usual cast of characters, our Goberts or our Giannis's. But I think it's going to be Ben Simmons. I feel like he's always in the running. He's gonna win it next year, guys.
Okay, all right. Well, that'd be nice. That'd be nice to see there. No
rookie of the year too, because he won it last year, so he's the favorite.
Of course, man. Of course, he's always in the running.
Yeah. Is he eligible for that?
He's every year he is. He's kind of got this weird exception where he doesn't play the first year, he wins it, and then he can win it again and again and again. Yeah, it's a weird thing with him.
It's an Australian thing, I think.
Yeah.
You know, mate. All right, let's Jake, I'm gonna push it back to you there. Most improved from last year.
Okay, so I've put a lot of thought into this. I've woken up in the middle of the night with cold sweats about it. Most improved player for me is going to be you might be surprised by this, Carmelo Anthony.
Wow.
What?
Okay.
Yeah, Carmelo
the Syracuse
Anthony.
star laid on us.
Carmelo Anthony. What the fuck? No, he can't. Is he even eligible? You're probably thinking. I'm not sure.
I thought you were going to say Ben Simmons.
No.
He's going to sweep the awards.
Yeah.
Please sweep.
Yeah.
No, Carmelo Anthony, it's not far-fetched. The guy is a steal for that Portland team that we didn't even bring up when we talked about him. And I think I got a lot of faith in this new Carmelo. I think he got a bad rap. Maybe some of it was deserved, but the guy is still has glimpses of superstar in that frame of his. So watch out. Most improved.
Wow. Okay. All right. I believe we spoke about all the relevant players when we covered Portland, but
okay.
Cody, what?
Yeah.
Cody, what are your thoughts, bud? Let's hear your predictions.
Well, as crazy as it might sound, I can see where you like the crazy narrative you're going with Carmelo.
Yeah.
I can see it. It would be in rare air, and I think that the embodiment of the most improved player award, it would represent someone like Carmelo. I think in those circumstances. Yeah. So, if that were to happen, I would support it. I think I do like the vision that you have with that.
Wow, I like when you talk about how I said something very clever.
I'm not sure you used the word clever, but I get
that's a judgment call.
Yeah.
I think I'll go more of the safe route. So my pick would be Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. So he's going to be thrust into basically the alpha dog role for Oklahoma City. He's got no one else on that team, and he's going to be.
He's the only guy that's on a contract, isn't he? Over there in OKC, the rest of his draft picks.
Yeah, it's just little contracts. So there are 4 other contracts, and he's just dribbling the ball.
Yeah. Okay. Most improved. Okay.
I envision him like I'm just a bill guy on Capitol Hill there.
Yeah.
But I'm just a contract. Dribbling the ball back and forth. All right, how about the 6th man? Cody, let's start with you. Who do you see taking home that title?
I think my bold prediction for this would be Cam Reddish. I think that Atlanta team's going to have some firepower. He doesn't necessarily fit the role as a starter for that team, but if he's a 6'10", 6'11" guy that can shoot and handle the ball, he's going to be thrust into being his best role, I guess I would say, is like being thrust into a role of carrying that second unit, and he's got a unique skill set. I'm curious to kind of see what he can do to flourish in that role.
How about you, Jake?
My guy that is right here in my neck of the woods, and that is Jordan Clarkson for the Utah Jazz.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Absolutely. He's just bucket. He's just so wonderful for the Jazz. I'm gushing with just admiration for this guy, because he used to be Dante Exum, and now he's not, and he is putting buckets up in a crazy clip, and he's going to be your sixth man of the year.
That's a good pick. I like that one.
Thank you.
I like that. Well done. Let's end it, guys, with let's talk finals, man. I want to hear both y'all's picks on who's coming out of the East, who's coming out of the West, who's gonna be triumphant, and then who's taking home that finals MVP. Cody, I'm gonna kick it off with Jake. Let's
pump fake.
Yeah, let's go ahead and start with Jake here, and we'll let Cody take us home here as the senior correspondent of NBA programming and microwave development.
All right, guys. So I think I've alluded earlier that the Philadelphia 76ers are my pick to come out of the East. I think it's going to be a tough go with them. God, this is tough. My heart tells me one thing, and my brain tells me another. Goodness gracious, this is so tough, guys.
I can see your heart ripping through the phone.
You know what? You guys anybody who's listening to this can go straight to hell. Okay, first of all. The Utah Jazz are coming out of the Western Conference. I'm telling you right now, that's my bold prediction. The Utah Jazz are going to find a way to make it to the finals this year, and it's going to do some crazy things for people around here, but it's not going to do some crazy things for the television ratings, unfortunately. I love the team. I think they're a great team to watch, and they're gonna do it. They're gonna do it. The winner, call me a homer, whatever. I don't give a shit. I'm an intelligent human being. Okay. And I'm gonna say the Utah Jazz are
gonna bleep that out,
finals, bro.
All right. Okay. So you're from Utah. Utah's going to the finals, and Utah's going to win.
I've spent some time in Utah.
Okay. Who's going to be the MVP then? Is it also going to be Utah? Just the state of Utah.
Yeah, you know what? No, it's going to be Donovan Mitchell for sure. And we're going to finally celebrate. We're going to go up to the temple, and we might rock that Moroni horn right off of his goddamn hands. But yeah, that's mine, guys.
Didn't the horn fall off last year during the earthquake?
Yeah, it sure did. It sure did.
All right, Cody, take us out, man. Take us out of here. Tell us who's going from the East, who's going from the West, who's going to be that MVP here.
Now, what I want to see happen is what Jake just said. If that actually happened, oh my God, Utah would be like a mini Toronto, like just flipping.
You're right.
They'd be flipping cars over. We'd be pushing the missionaries over on their bicycles.
Yeah, we'd be flipping minivans over.
All right, now back to reality.
The Lakers are the defending champs. They improved greatly. Everything that I criticized them last year, they answered all my criticisms. So I'm going to go Lakers, and I'm going to go Bucks. The Bucks added Drew Holiday. There's an addition by subtraction by getting rid of Eric Bledsoe.
Okay. Yes.
That back-to-back years of Bledsoe underperforming and getting shut down by Scary Terry. It's
Scary Terry, good call.
Yeah. I see the Bucks getting over the hump. They have I wouldn't be surprised if they not beating the Lakers, but getting into the finals. Okay. Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
You got to figure they've had back-to-back second-round exits, so
Yeah, that's true.
It's true. I mean, there's nothing to sneeze at by any doubt. And then who's coming out then with the MVP? Then I'm assuming the Lakers are going to take it then from the Bucks.
I'm going to take the Lakers to win. I'm going to say Lakers in 5. You're going to see. I'm going to say LeBron Finals MVP.
Okay.
But the Bucks finally clear that path to future success, and I think eventually we'll win an NBA championship in the next 2 or 3 years.
So then when LeBron wins this title, is this going to be the hardest one that's ever been in the entire universe ever?
It's the perpetual one. Every year is the hardest one.
Yeah.
So
just because it's hard for him to win it doesn't mean it's hardest ever. Oh,
yeah, let us please end on that note here. We still have our sanity. Folks, hit the like and subscribe button. Don't take that joke as any kind of relevance to what we normally produce here on the show. We're going to be back here. Hopefully, Cody, hopefully we can get you back here as many times as possible, man. I like maybe some mid-season action. Maybe I'm not sure if there's an all-star break this year.
Oh,
but
there'll be.
There'll be. Let's go ahead and let's pick up another one here. Maybe we'll do a little all-star break then, and of course we'll come back for the playoffs to give our insight week in and week out and try to help you get you guys through this COVID-ridden 2021 season. Sound like a plan?
Sounds good to me.
Good, brother.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Gentlemen, thank all of it. Of course, our senior NBA correspondent, Mr. Cody Bass. Of course, Jake the Snake. And as always, I'm El Gambino. Folks, enjoy your day.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.